Monday, November 17th, 2014. This is PSN News. Tonight we'll have all the info on President Barron's latest announcement.
We'll also have a live interview with UPUA Representative Ryan Belz coming up on PSN News.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Maxwell Massey.
And I'm Alexandria Brown. President Eric Barron announced Saturday that he will be conducting his own review of the Free Report. Barron announced via press release that he is answering the calls of several community members to review the document because he doesn't want the public to believe Penn State is hiding something. The Free Report was released in July 2012, and the Free Report claimed that former assistant football coach Jerry Sandusky's child sex abuse was hidden by university officials, including late head football coach Joe Paterno and fired university president Graham Spanier.
Court documents released on Wednesday show that the NCAA worked closely with former FBI chief Louis Freeh. According to the documents, Freeh and the NCAA collaborated to conduct an independent investigation of the university's handling of the Sandusky case. There is also evidence that Freeh and the NCAA began working together less than 2 weeks after Penn State hired Freeh's investigative firm. A more recently disclosed email from the NCAA shows how close Penn State came to having its football program shut down due to the case. A week before the Penn State sanctions were announced, the NCAA Executive Committee favored the death penalty of shutting down the football program.
East Halls may soon be getting a new look. The Board of Trustees determined on Thursday that they will be taking steps to improve on-campus living and dining for Penn State students. One of those efforts will be the assembling of a team to renovate freshman dorms in East Halls. The renovations are set to begin with the construction of a new residence hall and plans for work on 2 buildings a year. The board also announced it will provide current data storage and security needs for University Park and Penn State Hershey, and has proposed increased funding for hub renovations. The board will be asked to approve the plans for each renovation before construction begins.
The Board of Trustees had even more to announce at their meeting on Friday. The board voted to postpone further discussion regarding the recently released NCAA emails until January. Trustee Anthony Lebrano proposed making Penn State a plaintiff in the civil suit against the NCAA, but the board has made no decision. However, the board did make the decision on how it will be constructed. In a 16-9 vote, it was decided the board will be increased from 32 to 38 members, 36 of which will be able to vote.
One Penn State student's mission of becoming a Pennsylvania legislator may result in jail time. According to the Daily Collegian, political science major Charles Martin was a candidate in the past election for the 77th District legislative race. As a legitimate candidate under the Libertarian Party, Martin was responsible for filing campaign financial reports. He allegedly has yet to complete his fiscal duties. Thus, the senior may be facing legal troubles. The reports were due October 24th, and along with a possible penalty of $250 per report, candidates who do not file campaign financial reports at all may face prosecution, jail time, and $5,000 in fines.
One Penn State student has found an unusual niche on campus. Reporter Yusuf Saba has more.
Gary Cattell, better known as the Willard Preacher, has been standing outside Willard Building and preaching every day since 1976. He has become somewhat of a landmark at Penn State, and almost every student knows of him. What students aren't used to is a student preaching at the steps of Willard Building. Michael Drozdowski is a junior studying human development and family studies here at Penn State. He's been standing outside Willard Building preaching since early this semester. He believes that he has an important message to share with Penn State's student population.
The message that I'm trying to get across to the Penn State community is that God loves them unconditionally, and that He holds no judgment that separates anyone from anyone else, and that we're all children of God, and that He wants us to know who He is.
Megan Jennings was watching Mike and shared her opinion of him.
He's preaching, and so people kind of get a negative response from that and don't really want to kind of engage with someone who's kind of preaching. But I think he has good intentions, and I don't know, I don't necessarily support what he's doing, but I'm not opposed to it either. I'm not personally religious, but I respect his opinions and I respect what he's trying to say. So I would just hope that other people would try to do the same thing.
Gary Cattell, the Willard preacher, also shared his thoughts.
I think that there's that natural connection from student to student. So he does have that a benefit. So they're gonna look at him and say, well, here's another student. Let's just not an older guy telling us what to think. This is one of us.
Mike talked to us about his reasons for doing this.
I decided to do this because ultimately it was one of my greatest fears, and I felt that it was an important message that I couldn't let my fear get in the way of sharing that message.
Mike usually preaches outside Willard every Tuesday and Thursday at 3:45 p.m. For PSN News, this is Yusuf Saba.
Man takes one step closer to reaching the final frontier. We'll have more coming up.
Get out to the forest.
Let the kids connect to their roots. It's gonna be so much fun. Yeah! Woo-hoo! Hey guys, wait up!
And discover the wonders of nature with your family.
These trees are the key to our way of life.
Fresh air.
What a glorious morning!
Clean water.
Woohoo! This is great!
An endless forest adventure.
Let's rock this jungle!
Yo, this is untapped territory.
How amazing!
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
So good to see you guys. So, what's up?
Oh, we finally bought a place.
Holy cow.
You seriously have enough saved to do that?
We've been putting a little aside each month.
Jeez, at the end of the month, we have nothing left to save.
Yeah, I have no idea where it goes.
Well, you're spending a lot on...
Is it good?
Oh, God.
Oh, how is my account overdrawn?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Oh! Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
The Islamic State militant group known as ISIS released a video on Sunday announcing American aid worker Peter Kasich was beheaded. The White House later confirmed Kasich's death after reviewing the footage. A dozen Syrian soldiers were also killed in the video. Kasich was 26 years old and a former U.S. Army Ranger from Indianapolis. He was captured in Syria in October of 2013 while working for charity groups in the region. His family said during his captivity, Kasich converted to Islam and changed his name to Abdul Rahman.
The crisis in Ukraine continues as the nation was invaded by Russian military convoys crossing into the border into eastern Ukraine. This makes the ceasefire agreement reached months ago effectively irrelevant. As of now, Russia continues to strongly deny any military involvement in the crisis, and its intentions remain unknown. The United Nations held an emergency meeting in New York on the ongoing crisis, where deep concern has been expressed due to the unclear end of the Ukrainian crisis.
U.S. law enforcement authorities have a new high-tech device that is helping them target criminals. According to the Wall Street Journal, small planes equipped with fake cell phone towers trick thousands of phones at a time into releasing their unique identifying information. The Justice Department is using this information to track down fugitives, drug dealers, and other suspicious suspects. The program is more sophisticated than anything previously understood about government technology use. Once the target phone is found, the system can find the suspect within 3 yards.
U.S. law enforcement authorities have a new high-tech device that is helping them target criminals. According to the Wall Street Journal, small planes equipped with fake cell phone towers trick thousands of phones at a time into releasing their unique identifying information. The Justice Department is using this information to track down fugitives, drug dealers, and other suspicious suspects. The program is more sophisticated than anything previously understood about government technology use. Once the target phone is found, the system can find the suspect within 3 yards.
President Obama plans to unveil a 10-part plan to overhaul the U.S. immigration policy with executive action. The plan is expected to be unveiled as early as this Friday. The plans were in draft proposal from a U.S. government agency. White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest told reporters traveling with Obama this past Thursday that the president had not made a final decision on any executive actions concerning immigration. He also said that the president would not announce any additional information until he returned to Washington. The most controversial part of the plan is the expansion of deferred action for illegal immigrants who came to the United States as children and for the parents of U.S. citizens and legal permanent residents. This means up to 4.5 million legal immigrants with children born in the United States will be permitted to stay in the country.
A big win for climate change advocates came last week. China and the United States have reached an agreement to lower their greenhouse gas emissions over the next few decades. According to the Huffington Post, President Obama called agreement a major milestone. Both nations are trying to get their gas emissions percentages to a better level, roughly in the 20% range. Many Republicans are not thrilled with the pact, claiming that China has to do nothing until the year 2016. However, many Democrats are happy with the principles laid out in the agreement benefiting the environment.
Man made another leap into the great unknown last week. The European Space Agency landed the satellite Philae on Comet 67P last Wednesday. Lander manager Stefan Olamek says the probe has been performing magnificently. The new problem the ESA is dealing with is the battery life of the robot. The satellite's battery is solar-powered, and there is only about an hour and a half of sunlight that shines on the robot, who had been propped up under a cliff. The satellite's lack of battery has caused it to go into standby mode, and the ESA is saying that the satellite is not dead, just simply asleep. Philae has already sent in a plethora of information regarding the comet.
We'll be right back with an interview with UPUA Representative Ryan Belz. Stay tuned.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Pretty much a good day for me would be people leaving their hands off of me. I'm always called names. Everywhere that I go, there's always someone calling me names, calling me gay. I've been choked, thrown up against a wall, punched. Nobody's ever tried to help me.
All right, you ready for some baseball trivia?
Let's do it.
What year produced the most no-hit games in the big leagues?
7 no-hitters in 1990.
Wow, that's right. Now a question that's not trivial. How many children will witness bullying this year?
Huh.
The answer, 3 out of 4.
75%?
That's
Wow.
right. How many of them will say something?
Kids want to help, but don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov.
You and Speaker of the Assembly, John Wortman, have recently resigned from your position. Can you please tell us a little bit more?
It was one bad decision or a worse decision for the organization, for myself, and for the college as well, since I represent the College Communications. And I took the better of the two options in resigning on my own terms. It was after a lot of internal politics took place. Unfortunate that it had to happen this way. But like I said, it was for the best of the organization and everyone involved.
Now, you said internal politics. There has been media reports of vote whipping and enforcing some UPUA members to vote a specific way. Can you elaborate on this?
Those media reports from the organizations are factually inaccurate. There was no vote whipping or anything. There was nothing forced on anyone. Simply, there was meetings had. This is what's going on at tonight's meeting. What are your thoughts on it? Okay, cool. Here's our thoughts. Would you please take those into consideration when you're voting? We never forced anyone to vote one way or the other. We just wanted to hear their side of the story and then to give our input so that they would have that as well going into the voting session.
So there was no enforcing, there was no threatening?
No enforcing, no threatening, while some people think that there was because it was supposedly they think Republicans versus Democrats. It was far from that. It was the issue that representatives thought there was other people more qualified for the open at-large seat that was open a few weeks ago that we have since filled. And while those people think it was politics related, they're the ones who are playing the politics here. We were doing what we felt was best for the organization as a whole.
Now you bring up politics, and you and Wortman are members of the college Republicans.
That is true.
Does that plays a large part? Why should it? Why does it?
It doesn't play a large part. I mean, it's a separate organization that we're involved in to be able to share our political views with other people who have that. And it's two separate organizations. While some members of the UPUA might be a part of college Republicans or college Democrats, great. We have that ability with all the organizations here on campus to be involved in other organizations. But that shouldn't play an impact, and that's not what played an impact on our end, that is, in what transpired. Even though some representatives, unfortunately, think that's how it transpired, I wish they would have came to me and voiced their concerns. I am probably the most transparent person on our assembly, more than willing to speak with anyone. We might agree to disagree at the end, but I'd be more than willing to speak about it.
Do you believe there's any sort of targeting that led to your resignation?
Yeah, pretty much. It's at this point, it seems like it's been a witch hunt with most members of the assembly against the college Republicans, blatantly. I've brought pieces of legislation from my committee the past few weeks, whether it be our elections code, the possibility of removing the Greek seats, to how we interview applicants and vet them beforehand for open seats. And each of these pieces of legislation, very quality pieces of legislation that my committee's put hours of effort into, and each piece has come to the floor, got torn apart, and then recommitted back to my committee. And it's very disheartening when my committee at last week's meeting says, nothing personal, Ryan, but it seems like every piece of legislation we bring to the floor is getting shot down. Should we have somebody else bring it forward? Or are they doing it just because you're the one bringing it to the floor? And I think they're right, because, like I said, it's everybody, for the most part, against the college Republicans. And it's disappointing that it's come down to this. It shouldn't. The politics should not come into this. And that's not what we meant it to come to. And I stand by every action I have, and I wouldn't change a thing.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Appreciate
your time.
Appreciate it.
That's all the time we have. We'll be joining us shortly. Stay tuned. We'll come back with the weekly weather forecast.
Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
All right, you ready for some baseball trivia?
Let's do it.
What year produced the most no-hit games in the big leagues?
7 no-hitters in 1990.
Wow, that's right. Now a question that's not trivial. How many children will witness bullying this year?
Huh.
The answer? 3 out of 4.
75%?
That's
Wow.
right. How many of them will say something?
Kids want to help, but don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov.
So good to see you guys. So, what's up?
Oh, we finally bought a place.
Holy cow.
You seriously have enough saved to do that?
We've been putting a little aside each month.
Jeez, at the end of the month, we have nothing left to save.
Yeah, I have no idea where it goes.
Well, you're spending a lot on...
Was it good?
Oh, God.
Oh, how is my account overdrawn?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
The remainder of your last school week here before Thanksgiving. And luckily this weekend temperatures will go up just a little bit for your ride home and for the beginning of Thanksgiving break. Like I said, for tonight, temperatures will drop significantly down into the teens from today's high in the high 40s. We'll also see some showers moving through the area, so make sure if you have any activities outside tonight to be very careful with this rain and cold temperatures. Ice could be a factor, and especially if you're walking around, make sure you do bundle up because any exposed skin will feel very cold with this wind chill coming in. We could have some gusts up to 20 miles an hour, making that low temperature of 18 feel much, much colder. It's hard to believe. And like I said, for tomorrow, temperatures will not rise up to the highs we had today, but luckily that precip will move out of the area. We will have some sunny skies, a high around 24 degrees, but that wind will still be a factor, so make sure you bundle up. Luckily though, for the rest of this week, we will see the high temperatures move up into the 30s there, which is actually some pretty good news this time of year. And you can see not much in the way of precip for the remainder of your school week here. And as Thanksgiving break starts next week, we will see some milder temperatures you can see for this weekend, up into the 40s and even to the 50s on Monday with some rain moving through the area possibly for next week, so we will keep our eye on that. For the Penn State Campus Weather Service, I'm Faith Aritz. Have a great night.
Pretty much a good day for me would be people leaving their hands off of me. I'm always called names. Everywhere that I go, there's always someone calling me names, calling me gay. I've been choked, thrown up against a wall, punched. Nobody's ever tried to help me.
So good to see you guys. So, what's up?
Oh, we finally bought a place.
Holy cow.
You seriously have enough saved to do that?
We've been putting a little aside each month.
Jeez, at the end of the month, we have nothing left to save.
Yeah, I have no idea where it goes.
Well, you're spending a lot on...
Was it good?
Oh, God.
Oh, how is my account overdrawn?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Hello everyone, I'm Nicole Barrows with this week's Sports Wrap-Up. Penn State students proudly boasted the expression, "We are eligible," after the football team's 30-13 win against Temple University on Saturday, Reporter Maxwell Massey has more from Beaver Stadium.
The Nittany Lions and head coach James Franklin come into Beaver Stadium today looking for their 6th win against the Temple Owls. If they can achieve the success, overcome the struggles on the offensive line, and Christian Hackenberg can find his way, this team will be bowl eligible for the first time in 3 years.
The in-state rivalry began as a defensive battle as Penn State quarterback Christian Hackenberg struggled to get anything going offensively. The true sophomore missed a handful of open throws, even with a much improved offensive line that gave him time in the pocket, and ended the day only 12 for 26 for 112 yards and a pair of costly interceptions. The Owls and the Nittany Lions traded field goals with Ficken a perfect 2 for 2 heading into the locker room at half, leading 6-3. Head coach James Franklin was disappointed in the team's lack of offensive production.
Went into halftime, I told the coaches, look, we were able to move the ball in the first half. We just got to stop. We got to stop hurting ourselves with the penalties and turnovers. So we stuck to the game plan, and I was pleased.
Coming out of halftime, Bill Belton and Akeel Lynch broke through the line and found their way to the end zone on 2 consecutive drives, taking a 20-6 lead. However, the Temple Owls responded less than a minute later when their own quarterback, P.J. Walker, threw a juice ball to Jalen Fitzpatrick for a perfect 75-yard touchdown strike to put the Owls only behind by 1 touchdown. The Penn State Nittany Lions solidified the win in the 4th quarter, as it was similar to the first when the dynamic play calling from the Nittany Lion defense shut out the Owls and allowed a pressured Walker to throw a pick to freshman Grant Haley, who returned the interception 30 yards right to the house. Aiding in the win was Penn State's ability to capitalize on turnovers on 4 straight Temple possessions, as well as an explosion of the run game with big sparks from Lynch and Belton. The impressive tandem busted loose, combining for 222 yards and 2 game-breaking touchdowns. After the win, senior linebacker Mike Hull spoke about Penn State's bowl eligibility and what it meant for this team.
We're excited that we can go to a bowl game now, but we want to keep it winning games so we can get to the best bowl game possible.
Penn State came up big in what started off as a defensive battle. Big plays and great running by Akeel Lynch and Bill Belton led Penn State to a huge in-state battle win. Reporting live for Beaver Stadium, I'm Maxwell Massey, PSN TV.
4 players made their first collegiate starts as the Penn State women's basketball team defeated Towson 71-64 at the Bryce Jordan Center this past Friday. The Lady Lions blew a 16-point first-half lead, but rallied back from a 9-point deficit in the opening round of the WINT preseason tournament. Lindsey Spann was the team's lead scorer with 17 points. The outcome for the Lady Lions was not in their favor on Sunday, however, as they fell to Albany in a close 53-54 game. A 3-pointer by Jenny DeGraff in the final minute tied the game, but a Towson foul shot put the Tigers ahead by 1 to clinch the win. DeGraff was 4 for 4 from the field and finished with a career-high 12 points. Next up for the Lady Lions, they'll play the loser of the Western Kentucky-Colorado game on Saturday at home. With 3 players scoring double digits, the Penn State men's basketball team earned a victory in their season opener against Morgan State on Friday night. DJ Newbill led the team with 17 points, followed by Shep Garner with 14 and Gino Thorpe with 11. In the second half, the Nittany Lions led by 16 and never let the advantage fall below 10 in the 61-48 win. DJ Newbill powered the offense again on Sunday with 18 points in a contest against the Fordham Rams. The Nittany Lions, who held the Rams to 17 of 55 shooting, will travel to South Carolina to compete in the Charleston Classic this Thursday. Despite 22 shots on goal, the Penn State women's ice hockey team could not find the back of the net in their 3-0 loss to Rochester Institute of Technology on Friday night. Nittany Lion goaltender Celine Whitlinger made 28 saves in the contest. In the second game of the series, Caitlin Riley led the team to a victory against RIT, scoring 2 of Penn State's 3 goals, including the game winner. Bella Sutton also scored for the Lions, tying up the game at 2 with less than a minute in the third period. In overtime, Riley scored off a rebounded shot for the win. They'll return to Pagula for a pair of CHA games against Lindenwood beginning on Friday. The number 6 Penn State women's volleyball team extended their winning streak to 10 consecutive matches with straight set victories over Iowa and Minnesota. Ayanna Whitney powered the offense with a match-high 16 kills. In both matches, Dominique Gonzalez led the offense with double-digit digs. Micah Hancock improved her single-season aces mark to 91, registering 4 aces against the Gophers. The Nittany Lions will travel to Michigan to take on the Wolverines on Wednesday, followed by a contest against Maryland on Saturday. The number 6 Penn State field hockey team was knocked out of the NCAA tournament on Sunday, falling to 4th-seeded Syracuse 3-1. Nittany Lion Kyla Licata had 15 saves in the quarterfinals, a career high. Penn State's lone goal from Jenna Christmer in the final minute of the game was not enough to secure a spot in the semifinals. The Nittany Lions ended their season with a 16-6 record. And that's all for this week's sports. PSN News will be right back after this.
Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
All right, you ready for some baseball trivia?
Let's do it.
What year produced the most no-hit games in the big leagues?
7 no-hitters in 1990.
Wow, that's right. Now a question that's not trivial. How many children will witness bullying this year?
Huh.
The answer? 3 out of 4.
75%?
That's
Wow.
right. How many of them will say something?
Kids want to help, but don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov.
And that does it for us here at PSN News tonight for November 17th, 2014. Thanks for joining us, and make sure to check us out on Twitter at PSN News.
We'll be back December 9th live at 7 p.m. Have a good night, and thank you for watching.